Hi everyone. This is module number 65 for the subject of strategic human resource management. This module is about the critics of the universalist approach, and we will discuss the criticism on the universalistic approach in two modules. As in the last couple of modules, we have been discussing the universalistic approach to a strategic human resource management. Before I start about the criticism, it is important to recall that what it was. Simply, when you believe that there is one best way of managing a strategic human resource management, you are talking about the best fit approach or the best practice approach. So, the best practice view of SHRM is very persuasive. It's very appealing to practitioners that there is a set of practices or there is a bundle of practices that can be configured together and they can be applied to all organizations almost in all situations. However, there is a criticism on the best practice approach on at least three levels. The first, the implementation level, the second, theory and method, and third, broader societal considerations. In this module, we will talk about the criticism on the implementation level. The best practice approach, the researchers and practitioners argued that there is a little agreement among researchers as to which practices are the best practices. Researchers have compiled a list of best practices, and it is hard to find any consensus about which practices are best practices or which practices are more important than others. Is there any practice which is superior or better than others? Or all practices are equally important, or all practices are equally the best practices? So, when you are choosing the best practices, the question arises about which best practices. The second is potential cost to the firm for implementing such practices. It has been observed by the practitioners and also by the researchers, or noted by the researchers, that the cost of implementation of these best practices is quite high. As a result, it may not be feasible for all organizations to implement these best practices or to adopt these best practices. For example, paying employees above average. It is going to cost organization in certain ways. So it may not be possible for every organization to pay above average to their employees. On the other hand, if you look at the smaller organizations, definitely it is not possible for them to adopt these best practices. So, are you giving recommendations to adopt best practices to some organizations? If you are giving your recommendations to some organizations, actually you are not talking about the best practice. You are talking about the context of that organization. Another criticism is that the differences among organizations, industry, supply of labor, etc. What we mean by that? It suggests that there are different organizations and every organization is working in a different industry or in a different sector. And the contextual factors among those organizations in different industries are different. For example, in the pharmaceutical industry, simply in other manufacturing industries, and other fast moving and consumer products industries, service industries, these organizations are different from each other, or these sectors or industry sectors are different from each other. And every sector, every industry has some context which is unique to that particular industry. So, in this contextual factors, One practice may suits to one organization or may be best for one organization or one industry, but may not be generalizable or cannot be generalized to other organizations in other industries. Thank you.